Step 1. Establish a system so crazy it's destroying the Bundesliga. Strikers playing as centre-backs, using a system that turns the opposition into prisoners, multiple formation changes during games, and turning what is supposed to be a weakness into a collective asset. Before we get into it though, hit that subscribe button to kick Seb down below. From day one, Vincent Kompany made it clear what the plan was.
An die Fokus liegen auf wieder ganz da oben zu sein. Die Kader muss 100%ig diese Fokus haben und diese Intensität haben und jetzt wieder
back on top. But this in itself is just the tip of the iceberg. How has a man who was reportedly Bayern's 6th choice for the job suddenly turned the Bundesliga on its head? He's showing the world just how much of a genius he is. Tactically, he's been creating a madness. On paper, it looks like Bayern Munich sets up a 4-2-3-1 system, but this doesn't even tip the surface because Kompany has got 3 different systems he uses to create havoc with his Bayern team. The 2-4-4 system. Think of it as a 4-4-2, but in reverse. Let's start from the back. It's crazy to think in the modern game, full of defensive structures with teams filling different players in different positions to never get caught out. Vincent Kompany is brave enough to leave 2 at the back. The idea is simple. The fullbacks will move into half spaces in the midfield. Notice how I didn't use the word invert? That's because Kompany prefers to keep his fullbacks out wide as much as possible. But that's when they've advanced to the attack, which we will get to. But in this building up phase, when the fullbacks push up, the centre backs will then take up wide positions to fill the space left by the fullbacks. It's a high risk, but the players in these positions understand it. In the midfield, things get pretty interesting. The team makes use of a double pivot, or 2 holding midfielders if you like. But under Kompany, this position is just as flexible. When they've got the ball, for example, because of how high up the team plays, it's easy for either holding midfielder to pick a pass into the advanced attacking option. The number 10, that is, or out wide, having 2 midfielders at the base controls the flow and allows the team to dictate the pace. Add this to the fullbacks tucked in those half spaces, and that's the 4 in the midfield. The 4 up front, under Vincent Kompany, Bayern will line up with the number 10 behind the main striker while the 2 wingers hold with width. Sounds about right. But what if I told you this is just one part of the 3 formation Kompany's got in place? We've just gone through the 2-4-4 and now it's the 2-3-5. The same back 2, the same idea, but where things change is in the midfield. It becomes a 3 in that area of the pitch when Kompany's Bayern team has to adapt to a problem. If they come up against a team that will press relatively high and keep numbers on the holding midfielders to limit their control of the ball, then the number 10, Jamal Musiala, drops into that deep area of the pitch to form a 3. It then becomes a front 5 with fullbacks pushing up very high, with the wingers tucked inside and the number 9 in that central position. It can also become a 3-2-5 if they have to, which happens a lot of times this season. Here, the goalkeeper stays advanced to add an extra option to the backline and make it become a 3, with the holding midfielders at the base and the front 5 in attack. Now, you might think with 3 formations above, this would be a lot of tactical instructions for players to get used to. That's where you'd be wrong. Step 2, going back to basics. He's played under Guardiola and began some of his coaching courses at City under Pep.
Guardiola, he is something extraordinary.
Yeah.
What is it that makes him so great?
No, well, it starts with everything you read in books about how you have to be to achieve success. He obviously lives by it. And I think he's able to make people around him better, and he's very clear in his ideas. And when others are resting or thinking he's gonna take a bit of a nap and a breather and look around him in comfort, he carries on. But it's difficult to do, but he does it.
Do you think that you've kind of taken some of that into your own style?
I'm going to call it as it is. The most stupid thing I could do in this interview today is even remotely compare myself to him. So I'm going my own journey, and one thing's for sure, it does involve a lot of graft and hard work, and I believe in that recipe.
And you'd be excused into thinking Vincent Kompany is a part of a class of coaches that buys into Pep's ideas of systems and zones, where players have to follow each instruction to every detail. But again, he's different. Kompany's flexible enough to understand the team he's got. Take for instance a player like Jamal Musiala, for example. He's press resistant, hardly loses the ball, and is incredible in tight spaces. So what does Kompany do then? In that number 10 position, Musiala isn't just confined to one area of the pitch. He's got the license to roam around and move to find the ball. It's the same with Harry Kane. We know he's quality. Vincent Kompany knows this too, and his role in the team allows Kane to be the type of striker he is.
Really really dangerous pass. Motivation here is Harry Kane. Puts his foot through the ball. The England captain against Timon Weiner makes it.
The most complete centre forward in the world. You see guys, again, Vincent Kompany's system allows a player like Kane to express himself, dropping deep to link the play in the midfield, not being confined to just that central area a typical number 9 would, getting goals and assists. I mean, 29 goals and 10 assists in 30 games is just ridiculous. That's what the flexibility brings. It's not just an attack. We're seeing players revitalize with Kompany in this new system.
Ich merke schon, dass ich mich im Mittelfeld am wohlsten fühle, wenn ich eine lange Zeit rechts hinten gespielt habe. Dann war es nach ein paar Spielen auch so, dass ich so dachte, boah, eigentlich die Position ist auch ganz...
Every time Joshua Kimmich plays and puts on a masterclass performance, it's hard to believe Thomas Tuchel really didn't see him as a proper option in the midfield. He's prepared to play him at the right back. Vincent Kompany, on the other hand, has reverted to playing Kimmich in the midfield, and the results don't lie. Hang on a bit, just in case you missed it earlier, that subscribe button to Kick the Seb is still down below. Click it. Look at the metrics. He's ranking high in every category for midfielders in the Bundesliga this season. I could say the same about a player like Alphonso Davies too. He recently signed a contract extension with the club, and he's another one who's benefiting from Kompany's system of allowing players to showcase individual talent. The team playing high up the pitch is an added advantage, as we know Davies' quality when it comes to attacking situations. Players like Upamecano and Kim Min-jae, who constantly came under criticism at the club last season, have now become regulars for the Bayern team. So he's not exactly copying Pep Guardiola, but still, he has to have gotten his tactics from somewhere, right? Step 3, remodeling the past.
The reason why I believed in what he said as well is, what is unknown is, I did all my academy years at Anderlecht, from the age of 6 to the age of 20 when I left the club. And Anderlecht took all of their ideas from the Cruyff philosophy.
Here, Vincent Kompany clearly states that his footballing ideas come from RC Anderlecht, and that in turn, their ideas originate from Johan Cruyff's philosophy. The thing with this though, is that Vincent Kompany isn't following this philosophy to the core. He's made changes that are very evident to see. The most obvious one has to be the man-marking approach. The way Bayern set up, as opposed to the more traditional zonal marking approach of the total football and Cruyff system, Kompany prefers to set up his team to mark man for man. You'd think this would be a bad thing in the modern game, given that teams could easily beat the Bayern press, but that's where the genius of the man comes into play.
Nochmal, also ich verteidige. I'm defending now against the winger. The moment come to my line, I have to be sure that I'm on the line of the defender, or he has to, so that he is offside, or I have to adapt, play to him. I go and I can be aggressive. So manage that distance, so you can always be aggressive.
The man-marking approach had a sub-twist with Kompany. You'll notice that in that clip, he's talking about distance marking. It's an approach he'll use to make sure his team isn't completely caught out if the opposition manages to beat the press, which again will prove very hard, and that is because in the system they've set up, it allows Bayern to trap the opposition in a wall structure.
Creates a wall around the opposition which traps them in their defensive third.
By using this, should any breakaway happen, they can quickly close down the space in the threatening area of the pitch with bodies moving towards the ball. It's like a trap the opposition doesn't even see coming. Possession is a big theme for Vincent Kompany and his Bayern team. They've averaged 65% possession, the most in the Bundesliga this season. The idea here is to keep the ball and be constant on the attack, but there's no use in keeping the ball for large periods if there's no end product, and that's where step 4 comes in. Step 4, producing results. At the start, Kompany made it clear what the objective is, and that is to return Bayern to the top of the Bundesliga again. This idea almost seemed laughable for a couple of reasons. It's not as if Bayern didn't have the team to do it. I mean, they won the league 11 consecutive times from 2013 to 2023 before Leverkusen broke the streak last season. But the point is, the new manager, Vincent Kompany, had just been relegated the season before with Burnley. Again, Bayern's problems seemed to run beyond the blip of 2023-24. Even the 2022-23 season, when they won the league, it was thanks to some epic final day choking from Dortmund that tilted the title in their direction. This season though, Bayern is back on top, and Kompany's men are doing it in some style too. 65 goals. That's the most scored in the European top 5 leagues alongside Barcelona this season. Defensively, they're right up there too. 19 goals conceded is the joint best in the European top 5 leagues alongside Napoli. In the Champions League, they weren't as convincing, but still managed to secure a playoff spot where they beat Celtic in the first leg at the time of recording this, and there's every reason to believe they will repeat the same performance in the second and advance to the round of 16. That's not to say there haven't been setbacks this season. They're out of the DFB Pokal after a 1-0 defeat to Leverkusen in the round of 16. And in the Champions League, defeats to Aston Villa and Barcelona showed the potential drawbacks to Kompany's system. In the Villa game, it was a straight ball from defense that passed the midfield for John Duran's opener, and in Barcelona, the Catalan club simply had better quality when they went man-to-man, which caused problems for the defense. In the reality of what the season has been so far for the club, these are results that would naturally occur during a season. No team can win every game, every competition during a campaign. Vincent Kompany is writing his history at Bayern. 8 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. The players have adapted to the new system. Teams have found it difficult to play against this approach. Vincent Kompany is proving his doubters wrong, and there's still a lot more to come. Let us know what you think about Vincent Kompany's game plan in the comments below, and don't forget to give this video a like too.